What's going on today, Internet? I am Selfish. You are watching Retrospect, and today we're going to get a little handsy with the ABXYlute One. I can't believe I'm admitting this, but this is actually the first time I've ever played this video. It just looks like a game that people go to when they want to see what kind of performance a device has. And right now I'm playing Spider-Man, streaming on Moonlight from my computer. And it works absolutely flawlessly on this device. When I first got this device, I was actually a little confused that why it didn't have Wi-Fi 6, but they actually support a really good Wi-Fi 5 profile. That, and on top of its 16:9, 60Hz, 7-inch, 1920x1080 display, it is absolutely phenomenal. What I really wanted to do is take a $200 device with a bigger screen. I know it's not 8 inches like the PlayStation Portal, but just to show you guys what these devices can do, and they already exist. And you're not going to be limited to using specific Bluetooth profiles, and you're not going to be limited to PS5. At first, I was a little concerned that it wasn't going to be very comfortable just because it is such a thin device. I mean, you compare it to something like, I don't know, the Retroid Pocket 2S, and it is a thin device. By far, one of the thinnest devices that I own, and it performs in its own special kind of way. While we're taking a look up the ABXYlute stress, I'm going to put some words over here so that you can read about the things that I forget to talk about. First off, surprisingly comfortable to hold. Not as comfortable as the G Cloud when you add a case to it. They don't make a form-fit case for this device yet that I've been able to find, but I assume that once they do, it will feel very much like that. The problem is then it gets a lot thicker. Up here you have your power and your volume up and down. I do have an issue with this layout. I believe that they should have moved the volume up and down buttons to the other side. The reason being is a lot of times when I'm in bed at night and the lights are all off and my wife is sleeping and I go to turn the device off, I actually just make it louder. Somehow I tend to miss this button right here and I end up hitting the volume up button. So I feel like they should be separated. I think that would eliminate that problem, and I don't think that would be a hard thing to fix on the next one. Next, I want to get into these triggers. They work pretty well. They're pretty springy. Then we'll get into the shoulder buttons. They have low travel and a good surface area to click on. Also, versus the pre-production devices, which I didn't receive, people were worried about how glossy the back was and being slippy and slidey. But for the final production model, they actually added texture to it. So I hope you can see the texture in there. It's a little faint, but it actually feels pretty good. Very similar, again, to the G Cloud. I've heard rumors that this is based off of an earlier prototype of the G Cloud, which would make sense. They're very similarly laid out, and they also have a very similar Android 12 operating system that is supported by Tencent. Now, if we get down here to the bottom, we have our USB-C charging hole. We have our 355mm headphone hole. What they don't have on this, which I hope they fix in a future device, is to add an HDMI mini cable or make this a charging and data port like they did on the ABXYlute. Moving to the sides of the device, not a whole lot to see here. Nothing on the sides of the device, which is actually really good with the way that you hold onto the device. We'll move to the front. We have front-firing speakers. The way I hold the device, the speakers never get covered up. This is one of the better speaker setups that I've seen in any of the current devices. Sure, if you really get into it, you might cover them a little bit, but then the device becomes uncomfortable, so your hands are naturally going to move back away from the speakers. Understanding that sharing is caring, sometimes the audio is just for you and not for everybody else in the room, especially when it's late at night. Next, we'll go through some buttons. We have our start and select buttons. We also have a home button and a function button on the front. All these buttons are pretty clicky, not real loud clicky though. So again, this is a device you can play in bed. We have our ABXYlute, or for you novice out there, our ABXY buttons, which feel really nice. And then we have our D-pad, which I've seen some people struggle with diagonals on. I have not had any problems with it on this, but I also don't play a lot of fighting games. Next, we have our Switch style joysticks, which have L3 and R3, and they feel pretty good. Not a lot of travel, which you don't really need usually with Hall effect joysticks. We all know the shortcomings of the PlayStation Portable. It can only play PS5. It can only work on the internet. Here I am emulating PSP at 4x resolution and not required to have an internet connection. So if you find yourself in a situation where you don't have an internet connection, it is still going to be possible to get on there. And with these emulators and this device, though not a strong chipset, it can still pump the power just a little bit more on some of these games that are out there. Never really knew the moves on this game. The Shinuku. If someone wants to teach me how to do the Chinooks, leave them down in the comments. I never played Tekken until I started reviewing devices, and I really only played for a couple of seconds just to kind of show you guys some gameplay. If you don't have internet, and it works just fine. I'm sure if I mess around with the settings enough, I could probably get Switch to run natively. But this is not a device to be playing native Switch games on. This device also works with Game Pass, PS Play, NVIDIA GeForce Now. So you're not just limited to the PS5. When you do have internet, the only limitation you have on what you can stream on this device is limited by what's supported by Android. I finally get into Starfield, and of course, that's what I'm trying to make a video. Here's some Duke Nukem PS1, 2x resolution. It's holding up just fine. It dawned on me, this device isn't made for Switch. This is a streaming device. And streaming Switch games looks beautiful on this 7-inch 60Hz screen. There are a couple glaring problems with this device. I'm not going to say it is the world's most perfect device, but I think that nowadays with as many emulators as there are, we're getting a little bit spoiled. But for instance, these Hall sticks, they bottom out. They actually don't get the full range of the Hall sticks. Now, I have seen that they're possibly doing an update to fix this, but right now they are a clear issue. The other thing that bothers me, and maybe it shouldn't because I have lots of white handsets, and the Joy-Cons on my Switch, for instance, get grossly dirty. This device picks up everything, and it's really hard to clean. I don't know if you can see on here. My hands are clean right now, but most of this is just from filming this video for you. And so now I'm gonna have to go back and clean it all back up again, which I did before I started filming the video. So the white really attracts dirt. So if you're OCD like I am, it might not be the right color device for you. I debated it, I really did, because the G Cloud sometimes will get dirty, but the G Cloud does not absorb dirt like this does. Like with the G Cloud, you can just kind of wipe it off. This, it actually gets stuck on the device. Other than my couple of gripes, this thing does exactly as advertised. It is a cloud streaming device, and it is not limited to one system, which I think is where people are going to be really upset when the PlayStation Portal comes out, where they're limited to just playing a PS5, where this, if you have a PS4, you can also play it through PS Play, along with being able to stream all your other streaming services. And on top of that, if you are in an area that doesn't have internet, you are going to still be able to emulate games on this device, where the PlayStation Portal, as of right now, is not going to be a capability with it. It seems very restrictive with their Link headphones. This here runs on normal Bluetooth. I just link them up with my Raycons, and they work just fine. No, this isn't an advertising spot. I just think that they work really good with headphones. And that is something that I need for somebody who plays video games in a lot of waiting rooms and also in bed at night when my wife is trying to sleep. I hope that gives you a good idea what this device is all about, and I haven't even told you the best part yet. This is a $200 device. Pitting it up against the PlayStation Portal at $200, this device is far more capable. I understand, and somebody's going to leave a comment, that the PlayStation Portal has an 8-inch screen. Great. This has a 7-inch screen, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's not something you would expect when this device is only $200. Is this the right device for you? Let me know down in the comments. If there's anything else you'd like to know about this device, let me know that too, and I will make a follow-up video. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video, because sharing helps grow the channel. And my wife says that I'm more of a grower than a shower. I could use all the help that I can get. Thanks for joining me on this incredible handset journey, and until next time. If you want to get one of these bad boys, I will leave a link to ABXYlute's website down in the thingamabob. And until next time, I'm out.